Hi everybody and welcome to the new version of the SOA CloudsMaker 1.2. In this new version, a few things have changed, and here we go with a little bit of a tutorial to understand what to do. First of all, if you go into the SOA CloudsMaker v12 folder, you can see here we have a map, and if you open it, you will get something like this. Now, in this map, there is just a directional light, a skylight, and a sky atmosphere. There's an exponential fog to get a little bit of a fog, as you can see here, and a post-process volume, which is necessary to change a few color correction, like it's basically like a little bit of contrast, a little bit of gamma, and then I've changed the bloom on convolution because I like it more than the default one. Now, what to do? Of course, you have the SOA CloudMaker blueprint here, and if you don't want to work on my scene, of course, you can find the blueprint here. Here we go, and you can just drag and drop it into your scene. Okay. Now, what to do? A few things have changed, a few things have not. Now, the parameters here to control the height, the thickness, and the render settings of the volumetric cloud system, it's the same of the volumetric cloud actor from Unreal, with the only difference that I increased the layer height, so you can have basically thicker clouds if you want. Which I think is cool because, otherwise you can have only this value to 20 and I push it to 50, okay? But that's up to you. Now, what to do? Well, the next thing to do is to check down here. You have the material, which is a material instance. And if you double click on it, you will get it here. You will open it. And you will see that if you're used to an older version of the SOA CloudMaker, this will be a little bit different because not all the values you can work with, you can play with, they are here, okay? Some of them, they are into a material parameter collection, which is in the same folder, in the preset folder. You can find it here. If you open it, then you will find some values here, okay? Values like the global scale, the main shape size, the main shape contrast, the bias, and some offset, okay? And now you have these values here for the only reason that you can, if you want, you can create a new level sequence and you can track this material parameter collection. So you can change these values in a video and you can create an animation as you want with this value. I don't know, maybe you want to move the clouds back and forth, or I don't know, you want to change the scale, or you want to change something that looks like the density. You can do it, and it's a lot better. I got a lot of requests about this, and I decided to implement this feature. Now, there's only a few things here, only a few values. But if you feel brave enough and if you want to, if you need to, you can open the original master material, which is here at the end of the instance. And you can, go inside every single material function. And I don't know, you can add other options, other values which are here, which is, like parameters we have here, and, into the material parameter collection. And basically you can, control them from level sequence too, okay? So it's up to you. I just keep it as simple as I could. So let's go back for now to the material here. Now, as you can see, the first thing you need to do is to change the shape. Now, for this moment, I will keep this, which is the default one, is the blurred circle. And of course, as you can see, a blurred circle creates something like very simple, semi-sphere shape clouds. And of course, this is it. If you change this texture with one of these, you can find a texture folder. Of course, everything will basically change. I don't know, we can use this one, which is created by, looks like lines. And as you can see here, now we have lines. And of course, you can control the shape, the size of the shape from here, from the material parameter collection. And of course, you can increase this shape, you can increase or decrease the contrast, you see, and you can work with the bias which is something that, it sounds like density. Okay, so it's up to you here. You can, of course, change the texture and change these values. Now, it's a small advice. You will feel that you will understand that different textures need different values in the size. Okay, because if you have a circle like this, maybe a size of 50 is enough. If you have a texture like this, maybe you need to go to 200 to have something which is decent, okay, and plausible. So it's up to you. You need to do some tests, and that's it. Now you can see here some tests I've done. Some texture I painted manually, okay, with Photoshop, and this is the beauty of the system. You can, paint with a simple brush and get something that you like, or something that the project needs, I would say. Remember to uncheck sRGB from the textures, because every texture which is black and white doesn't need to be corrected in it should stay in linear mode. So just keep it sRGB unchecked and save. Okay, anyway, let's go back here. Once you have the shape you want, once you have the main shape you want, and then you select a different value for the size and the contours and the bias, then you can play with a few other things here. Of course, we have, as usual, the tint, even if it's not something I normally change, because by default, clouds are, kind of white. And if you put other colors, they will look a little bit, funny. I prefer to use the sunlight, the color of the sun, to change the color of clouds. And if you don't want to touch this one, if you don't want to use the tint, you can even go here and play with the subscattering tint, which is very cool, because if you have something like more saturated, you see it gets kind of you get this kind of kind of wax result. There's something like a subscatter color inside the clouds, and here you can decide even the strength of the, I would say, the strength of the shadows. Sorry, and so you have a little bit of something to test here, something new to play with. Even if normally clouds have no subscatter colors, and so I tend to keep these values very desaturated and close to white. Okay, now here we have the top bias, which is a nice upgrade, because sometimes what you have is a cloud that goes straight to the top, and from the bottom, and the curve that normally we have on the top is not very visible. But if you go up with the cloud top bias, the top of the cloud will basically becomes transparent, and it's like if we push the cloud from the top and it gets thinner at the bottom. And I love this because it's kind of solve a lot of problems that normally we have if we work with the fall-off bias, which are there, and I don't think you should touch them anymore. Okay. Anyway, then we have the density max, which is the normal density. Okay, if you increase the density, of course, you have more noise, and if you have more noise, then you need to go here in the shutter quality of the blueprint and increase the view sample count scale. But if you do that, it will increase. Of course, noise is going away, but render times will increase. Okay, so be aware that density can brings you render times, increase render times. Okay, now if you want to record some videos, you don't really care, so you can do whatever you want. Now, because I feel like that the same density is not realistic on the whole cloud, you can now activate here a density noise opacity. And so if you put 1 here, some areas will be then less dense, and you can you change here a density min value. Okay, let me increase here the noise opacity, so you can see now the cloud is the same as before, but some areas are now with the density which is lower than 0, so it becomes basically transparent. Okay, and of course here you have the tiling, so you can see if you increase the tiling, you will basically eat away a lot of clouds. Okay, don't exaggerate, because if you exaggerate with density, you could have a few problems like, I don't know, pixelated fringes, and that's not very cool. Okay, so keep in mind, use this little by little in a subtle way. Okay, and then what we have here, which is the big thing, is the new volumetric noise that I created, and basically it works better than the ones before, because we have one different volumetric noise for each channel. Okay, the red channel is for big details, the green channel is for medium details, and the blue channel is for very small details. There's something here also in the alpha. This is something, I mean, I'm not using actually, but you can use it if you want. You can just go inside the material function of the details and plug this alpha instead of one of the channels here if you want to try. Okay. And by the way, now if you turn off details, so you can bring details to 0, you will see the original shape of the cloud, which is basically now a fluffy thing, is without any kind of indent, any kind of detail, of course. And you can do a couple of things here. You can go with details to 1, and so you will get a very crispy look. Or you can keep the details to something like 0.9, and so you can see a little bit of the very smooth original shape will be maintained. And I kind of like it, because I don't think that you should have very sharp details everywhere. Okay, so this is up to you, but you now have the ability to keep a little bit of the original shape if you want. And then here we have the detail size multiplier. Now, I don't normally touch this one, but you can do that if you feel like that the size of the details are kind of disconnected with the size of the whole cloud. Okay, so if you touch this one, if you modify this detail size multiplier, you see here we have detail big, detail medium, detail small. You will basically increase or decrease the size of all the details in one shot. Okay, and sometimes it's okay, sometimes it works out of the box, but most of the time what I feel I want to do is to go directly with the details one by one. So what to do here to let's say create your own clouds as you want. Okay, you need to do this. You need to go to the details to 1. Okay, so you see full details 100% visible, and then you keep detail size multiplier to 1, and then you open the details medium and details small, and you put the amount to 0 in both of them. And so here we can see only the details big. And here we go, we have the scale, which is basically the size of these details, the amount, so how strong these details will be, and the BS, which is basically, which is like the medium point of the, I would say of the mask, which is, then be used to create this details. And it's up to you. You see, you can get something like very squashed spheres. And I kept this kind of detail as a big one, because I normally want to have this, fluffy, rounded shape at the beginning. And then when I found, the shape I like, then I need to go down, close this one, go to the medium, and increase the amount of the medium. And the medium will create, medium details. And of course, scale is up to you. Now, I exaggerate a little bit with the amount here. As you can see, we get some, you see, pixelated things. If you get this, you need to don't exaggerate with, the details. I would say amount. And now I like this result, and I can go on and I increase the amount of these medium details, and I of course work with the scale too, and then I work with the small details, which basically creates the fringe of the clouds. Okay, and of course I can play with the size. I can get what I like, and stop when I feel like it's time to stop. Now there's a secondary details opacity, which is this one, and this will eat your primary details. As you can see, the clouds are moving because here we have wind multiplier. I put it to 0, so I can stop the clouds to move. And if you increase the secondary details, you see clouds will become smaller because you are subtracting these secondary details, to add a little bit of realism if you feel you need it. And then additional clouds, this is basically a way to break the original shape of your clouds. Maybe, I don't know, this area is empty and you want something, you can just increase the additional clouds, and you see you will break free from the original shape, which is sometimes cool because you want a little bit of chaos anyway. Now the next one is something which I'm particularly happy about, is the tail fringe contrast. And you know what, I feel like we need a control on the fringe, on the border of the cloud, because most of the time they are too kind of fluffy and blurred. And so instead of something like this, you can increase this detail fringe contrast and get something very, very crispy if you like. Okay, now normally I don't keep this at 1. I want a little bit of something in the middle, I would say. And so it's up to you then. And then you have the details offset bias. Now, if you move clouds, okay, cloud with the offset, basically the clouds will move by a value, okay? And depending on the size of your new details, you want the details to move with the clouds at the same speed, or close to the same speed, to have a realistic result. So what to do? You need to understand if your clouds are moving faster than the details. And as you can see here, I think that it's happening. Clouds are moving faster than the details. And so you have here the offset bias, which is basically a way to say, okay, let's find the right value in order to move the clouds at the same speed of my details, okay? And you need to do a little bit of trial and error here, a little bit of tests, and see when now you see details are moving too fast, so I need to go down with this value, not up. Okay, and you will feel, when you will understand, you see now is working. You see now my clouds and my details are moving at the same speed almost, and you can tell immediately it looks a lot better. Okay. Now, and then you have the detail Z scale multiplier, which is the scale of the details on the Z axis. And I add this feature because I feel like that if you have the details, scaled at in the same way on the Z axis, then on the X and Y axis, they feel like weird. It's not something that I recommend you to have. Okay, so you can basically squash them down, with this value here. And I feel like that everything between 0.3 and 0.5 is normally working pretty well, okay? And then the last thing, you have the wind multiplier. Now the wind is just the wind, and this time the wind control everything, okay? So you don't have to care about moving the shape and moving the details and moving the height variations one by one. You can just control the wind, and then everything will move according to that. So if you press 1, probably it's too low. If you want like 10, see now everything start moving. And of course here you have the single like X speed, Y speed, Z speed, and that's it. Okay. And I will not touch the detail speed multiplier because you also have the offset bias here working, and it works well like this. Now, use turbulence is basically the old noise. but the old noise, was too much, too expensive for Unreal to render, and so also to compile. And you can tell if you tried, it's taking ages, and now it takes almost 20 seconds and it's done. And the turbulence, you have turbulence amount, which is basically the opacity of the turbulence, and the tiling, which you should have, pretty high as a value. And you can see then the turbulence working if you increase, you see, or decrease the tiling, and you can see it creates some basically like noise-based deformations on the clouds. Now, I will not exaggerate too much, so my advice is to keep the turbulence amount very, very low and the tiling very, very high, to have something like kind of a general deformation here and there. Now, clouds are moving too fast for my taste, so I go back to Wind Multiplier 1. And now that we have these infos, you can build your own cloud. And now other stuff here, you can even, forget about them. But anyway, height variation is about the bottom part of the cloud. If you feel like they are too, perfect, you can put a texture there to eat a little bit of the bottom of the cloud. Layers here is in beta for now, and it works well when you have a few clouds. And basically what you have here is a number, and each time you go up by one in this number, you have one more layer. Okay, now you see I have two, so I have two layers. And if you want to see those layers, you can turn on the bag opacity to 1, and you see now one layer is red, the other layer is green. And you can increase this to 3, and you will find, you see, orange, red, orange, and green, and so on. And then you have the cloud layer bias, which is basically the amount of thickness that each layer takes. 1 means each layer is the same, or you can go higher than 1, and so the first layer will be thicker than the others, and the other way around if you go lower than 1. Okay, but it's up to you. I mean, this is still in beta. I'm still trying to understand if it's the right way to do it, but at least you can play a little bit with this. Okay, if you go back to 1, then you go back to 1 layer only, and that's it. Okay, and then here you have the advanced options, which are basically something that belongs to how the shader looks like. So how the shader reacts to the sunlight, and the vertical bias, so basically the shape of the cloud at the bottom and at the top. I will not touch this. I tried many values, and these are the best I found out. So don't touch them unless you want to try, and you can go back to the default value if you want. Okay, so guys, have fun, and I'm waiting for your feedbacks. And if you want to have a real preview of the clouds anyway, I suggest you to press play. And if you like what you see when you press play, then this is exactly what you are going to get if you record a video with the CloudsMaker. Okay, and that's it. The next update I will release will be about placing clouds exactly where you want, so you can design your sky even better, and with this quality. And little by little we are getting there, and this update will let me to increase the update the plugin a lot better, a lot faster. And so that's why it took me a lot of time to put it out, but I hope you will like it. Okay, so let me know, give me some feedbacks if you want, and if you like the plugin, I will appreciate if you let a good comment on the marketplace. This is everything for today. Hi everybody, I'm Rob, State of Art. Next time.